Good morning, Rabbi Sai. We're getting there. Lad. So I'm here in Brazil, Sao Paulo. Rabbi, here we go. The good news is we're starting a brand new parak right now. And the whole parak is like a gadata, a lot of stories. And if not stories, it's halacha l'maisa. Things that are mamish, important to us on a day-to-day basis. Things about basar b'chalav, kashrus, all these sort of things. So, says the Mishnah, the bottom of Kuf Gimel Amud Beis, only 3 lines. Kol ha-basar asur levasha b'chalav. All meats, you're not allowed to cook with milk. What's all meats? All meats means even chicken. It's a shaila. Is chicken also to cook with meat, midaraisa? Does the Torah say you're not allowed to cook with chicken? Meat, chicken and milk? I don't know. So we have to see the Gemara. The Mishnah starts off, Kol ha-basar asur levasha b'chalav. All meat, meaning that even of a deer, a chaya, oif. Chotz mebsar dogim v'chagavim. The meat of fish, it's not meat. V'asur lahalois im agvino ala shulchan. You're not allowed to put meat on a table together with dairy. It's asur. Chotz mebsar dogim v'chagavim. You're allowed to put fish on the table together with the grasshoppers. So I'll show you right away. This is what we do. You know what? Let's just continue. Hanoider min basar. If somebody says I'm never going to eat any meat again in my life, or for the next month, he's on a diet. Some say, mutar b'bsar dogim v'chagavim. Even though he made a neder promise. How do you say? Promesa. He made a promesa min basar. Mutabed b'sar dagim v'chagavim. He's allowed to eat fish and chagavim. Okay, so says the Gemara. Yeah, we're holding Naf Kuf Daled Amud Aleph on the top. It says in the Mishnah that you're not allowed to put meat on the table together with cheese. Chutz mibsar dogim v'chagavim, or all the way in the beginning. Kol ha-basar asur levasha b'chalav. The first thing in the Mishnah, you're not allowed to cook meat with milk, but fish and grasshoppers you're allowed to. So says the Gemara, because it says only fish and grasshoppers you're allowed to cook with milk. Mashma, that chicken, schnitzel, is asur. It's midaraisa. The problem is that goes only like, not like Rebbe Kiva. Kiman, deloy ki Rebbe Kiva. That can't be Rebbe Kiva. Why? Di Rebbe Kiva, Omar chaya v'oif, einu min ha-Torah. You hear this? To cook a deer, to cook schnitzel together with milk is not a deraisa, according to Rebbe Kiva. And we just proved from the Mishnah that it is deraisa. Only fish is okay, but schnitzel is not okay. So that part of the Mishnah cannot go like Rebbe Kiva. A Maseifa, the problem is every Mishnah has to make sense. The beginning of the Mishnah has to be like one mandomar, and that same mandomar in the end. You can't pick and choose. You can't say the beginning is like Rebbe Kiva, not like Rebbe Kiva, and the end is Rebbe Kiva. Doesn't work. What does it say in the end of the Mishnah? Hanoider min ha-basar pramusia, not to eat meat. Mutar b'basar dogim v'chagavim, you're allowed to eat fish. Mashma ha'oif asur. Now, what's the thing about a neder? When you make a neder has to do with how people speak. If you use a language that everybody speaks, then it's a neder. If nobody says those words, nobody uses those words, it's not a neder. So let's see what it says in the end. Hanoidim min ha-basar, if you say the word basar. Now, if you ever went to Israel, you could see exactly what the Mishnah is talking about. Because some people in Israel confuse basar with chicken. They'll say, we don't eat basar. They call it basar off, but it's basar. Sometimes the word basar can mean chicken. No one ever says a fish is basar. No one. But chicken, yes. But you're allowed to eat fish. Why can you eat chicken? Because it's included in the word basar. Asan Rebbe Kiva, and that goes only like Rebbe Kiva. what's the rule? The rule is like this. If you send your kid to the store, you send a shaliach to the store, you send your cleaning lady, your servant, whatever it is, to the store to buy something, and they don't have that, and then the person comes back and says, do you want this? Do you want So you send your kid to the store, get me meat. He goes to the store, there's no meat. He comes back, he says, should I get chicken? He never comes back and says, should I get cake? Should I get challah? Because chicken is similar to meat. What if a person sends his kid to the store, says, get me vegetables? He goes to the store, there's no vegetables. Does he bring back pumpkin? Dalat. Does he bring back watermelon? You guys know what watermelon is? Pumpkin. You know what pumpkin is? So that's the question here. Would he come back for that? Let's say you send your kid to get vegetables. Will he ever come back with beans? No. Never beans. Beans is not vegetables. So it says the Gemara like this. If somebody makes a neder that he's not going to eat vegetables anymore, never going to eat vegetables, he's allowed to eat pumpkin, dlat. Why? Because that's not considered a vegetable. Rabbi Kiva says it is. Why? You tell your messenger, go buy vegetables, and he comes back and he says, I only found. You see, he does use the word pumpkins when he's supposed to bring back vegetables. He says, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. When a person comes back and says, how about this? In the Churban HaBayit, in the Churban Beis HaMikdash, what was her name? Baisus? Marta Bas Baisus, something like that. She sent her servant, the queen, she sent her servant to buy wheat. He comes back and says, oh, they don't have wheat anymore. Should I get barley? Yeah, go back and get barley. He goes to get barley. By the time he came back, finished. Finito. He comes back. Should I get this? Yes, get that. And he kept on coming back forth. He was a robot. He wasn't thinking. If he would have thought, he would have grabbed whatever. And by the time he came back, there's nothing left. But he came back and he asked, should I get barley instead of wheat? So you see that they're similar. Over here also, you send the person out to buy vegetables, he'll come back and say, there's no vegetables, should I get the pumpkin? But he'll never say, says Rabbi Kiva, he'll never say, I only found beans. That is because a pumpkin is considered part of a vegetable, but not barley. Ask the Gemara, Reisha Rabbanan b'Sefer Rabbi Kiva, how's it possible? We just established the beginning of the Mishnah is not Rabbi Kiva. And now this part is Rabbi Kiva. Omar Rav Yosef, no, it's not a problem. The whole Mishnah, Rebbe, who wrote the Mishnayos? Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rebbe Yehuda Nasi. It's not that the beginning is not Rabbi Kiva and the end is Rabbi Kiva. The beginning and the end is all Rebbe. And Rebbe decided on his own, I like Rabbi Kiva for the Seifa, I like Rabbanan for the Reisha. B'nedarim, the last part of the Mishnah, when a person says, I'm not going to eat meat anymore, Sovar Lo, let me put it over here. Sovar Lo, where am I? Sovar Lo, Rabbi Kiva. That what? That as long as you ask, if you're sent out to ask for meat, go buy meat. And you come back and you say, there's no meat, it's chicken, that's also good, that's considered it's meat. Because as long as the shliach asks, then it's in that word. And by nedarim, it goes by the word. How do people speak? But in the Reisha, the bas v'chalav, are you allowed to cook chicken and milk? So like Rabbanan. That what? That it's 100% also to cook chicken with milk. It's their Isa. Okay, so that's one pshat in the Mishnah. Rav Ashi Omar Kula Rebbe Kiva. No, it's not Rebbe. The whole Mishnah is Rebbe Kiva. But what are you telling me? That the beginning of the Mishnah doesn't really go with Rebbe Kiva. Because Rebbe Kiva holds that chicken is not awesome in their rice to cook with milk. And that doesn't fit into the Mishnah. It seems like it is also the Mishnah. So let me explain to you the beginning of the Mishnah. Kula Rebbe Kiva. What the Mishnah is trying to say, all meats are also to cook with milk, but this we didn't say, but this you have to stick in. Some meats are midiraisa, meaning, how did he call it? How do you say basar bakar? Carne. But the other one, the chicken one, freno is only the rabbanon. That's how you explain it. Okay. Some of the Rabbanon, in other words, chicken is the Rabbanon. But the fish, so we learned a lot of halachas here with, I don't know if you realized, is chicken usher to cook with milk, midaraisa. So we have a machlokes, Rabbi Kiva, Rabbanon. We also learned, if a person says, I'm going to swear about not eating meat, does it include chicken? Is meat included in chicken? All sorts of halachas. V'asur lahalois, we learned at the end of the Mishnah, or in the middle of the Mishnah, v'asur lahalois, you're not allowed to put meat and dairy on the same table. Omar Rav Yosef, Shma mino, you see from here, b'sar oiv b'cholav de'iraisa. Since you're not allowed to put chicken on the table with milk, so you see that's de'iraisa. What's the problem to eat chicken? What would be the problem if it's only the Rabbanon? Because it's similar to meat. It's not really usher, it's only the Rabbanon. So then why can't I put chicken on the table with cheese? What's the problem? If you put chicken on the table with cheese, you might come to eat it. And if you do eat it, what's the problem? You might come to eat meat. That's 2 steps away. So that, what is that called? A gzeira l'gzeira. Here we have this a little, we don't really need it, but why not? It's coming up. Okay. And how do you know that we don't do one gzeira to another gzeira? This nan, because we learned chalas chutz la'aretz. So we know that when your wife she bakes challah, you have to be mafresh challah. You have to take off a piece. What do you do with the piece? You're supposed to give it to the kohen. It's like truma, literally like truma, meaning that a Yisrael is also from to eat, midaraisa he's not allowed to eat it. It's like truma. So, what if you have wheat that grew in Brazil? Do you have to take challah from it? No, only midrabanan. So is it a problem to eat? So typically speaking, if you have a piece of this challah, it's called challah, meaning not what we eat on Shabbos, but the piece that you take off. That's like truma. A kohen should not eat it in front of a Yisrael. Why? Because he'll put it down, his friend will take a bite from it. But if it's the Rabbanon, if it's in Brazil, it's wheat that grew in Brazil, so it's not a problem to eat it in front of your friend, because you're not even chayiv to take challah from it. So what's the problem? You might, if you don't take challah here, you might not take it from wheat from Eretz Yisrael. So I take it over here. And then what's the problem? If I eat it here in front of my friend, he might steal a piece from it. No. So it's one thing to the other. It's two gzeris removed. It's not. You're allowed to eat it with the Yisrael on the same table. Why? Because the whole afrasha is the Rabbanon. So the whole is now I'm worried that maybe Yisrael might eat it. Nothing really happened. And you're allowed to give it to any kohen, because usually you're supposed to give it to a kohen, a Talmud Chacham, somebody that Rashi says you're allowed to give it to a kohen that doesn't even keep anything. Why? It's not an important challah. So, Omer le'Abaya, what's the raya from challah to our sugya of basa b'challah? Bishloimi yashmin chalas chutz la'aretz. Let me just show you real quickly. This is challah in Eretz Yisrael. It's the raya. So I'm concerned that if you eat it in front of a Yisrael, he might take some of that challah. Right? The guy on the left with the white is a kohen, the other guy is Yisrael. But here we are in Brazil. You see that? The whole challah to take from the wheat is only the Rabbanan. So what am I scared? That Yisrael might take it? The whole thing is the Rabbanan. I don't care. So says Abaya, if so, Bishlam Yashmin Chalas Chutz La'aretz Ba'aretz, Dikla Migzah Mishum Chalas Ha'aretz D'Oraisa V'Legaz Rinon. If this picture didn't happen in Brazil, if this picture happened in Eretz Yisrael, it was wheat that grew in Brazil, but we're in Israel, in Eretz Yisrael. So now I have a problem, because tomorrow the Yisrael is going to eat the real thing, wheat that grew in Eretz Yisrael, and that's the Iraisa. But I'm in Eretz Yisrael, so it could happen. But if I'm in Brazil, and Brazil the wheat is the Rabbanon, and I'm in Brazil, you can never get to the Iraisa in Brazil. What? wheat from Eretz Yisrael in Brazil is also not deraisa. So what's the problem? So asks Abaye that it's not such a great raya from challah. Why? Because basa b'chalav you could get to the eraisa right away. If I allow you to eat chicken with milk, cook it with milk, then tomorrow you're going to cook carne, regular meat with milk. That's the problem. And you'll get to the eraisa real quick, by mistake. You might come to the eraisa. Wait a minute. I remember we had a little video. Here. This is the Gemara's question. That worse comes to worse, you're eating the cheese, which is cold, with the chicken. It's cold chicken. So what's the problem? You're not cooking it. The whole issue is, I forgot to show you. It's very important. I forgot to show this all the way in the beginning of the shir. Showed it in the Hebrew one. What's the famous pasuk? Lo tevashel gidi b'chalev imo. It says it 3 times in the Torah. It's like the beginning, at the end of the Aliyah, right? You're not allowed to cook a goat in its mother's milk. It doesn't say a cow, it doesn't say sheep, it doesn't say deer, it doesn't say chicken. So that's where the Mishnah actually starts. Kol habasar, all. Kol habasar. No, I'm just kidding. Let me just show you this video for a second. It's not a real video. What's the concern? You might bring real meat. But the Gemara says, so what? He's using cold cheese with cold meat. That's not the Issa Deraisa that we're talking about. So says the Gemara, remind me again. No, seriously, when I get to the Mishnah. We're concerned that it'll be boiling hot in a pot. Says Gemara, I believe they fixed this problem. We had a problem with this, that I said that look, they took out the spoon, I think. When you cook something on the oven, on the stove, it's a kli rishon. You put it into another pot, it becomes a kli sheni. That doesn't cook halachically. So what's the problem? Says the Gemara, the problem is you might cook it directly on the kli rishon. You might cook the cheese right there, and that's a kli rishon. Zok the Mishnah. Ha'oif oilem megvina al shulchan, we're by the Mishnah. You could put chicken on the table together with cheese. Ve'enu nechal, divrei Beishamai. Beishamai say that you cannot eat chicken with gvina, with cheese, but you could put chicken and cheese on the table. Or Beisil say you cannot put it on the table. So who's more machmir? Who's more machmir? Beishamai, Beisil? Beisil say you cannot put it on the table. Beishamai say you could put it together on the table, the chicken and the dairy. This is one of the 6 times that Beishamai are more makel than Beisilo. The Gemara is going to say that he's the man Omar, and we'll explain. What kind of table are we talking about? The table that you're eating. You have a dining room table. On that table, you're not allowed. But some people have a bar in Israel. In Israel, they call it a bar. In English, it's buffet. It's like a table on the side. Over there, put your meat, and then put your milchiks, put your dairy, put your cheese. It's fine. Just not on the table that you eat. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. Rabbi Yossi Hanu Tanakama. The Tanakama brings a machlokes Beishamai Beisilo. It's obvious that Beishamai is machmer. So then what is Rabbi Yossi saying? That this is the chumrah of Beisilo. Isn't that exactly what the Tanakama says? Says the Gemara, very, very strong thing. Maybe Rabbi Yossi holds that that according to Beishamai, you're allowed to eat it. You're allowed to eat chicken. Imagine a schnitzel sandwich with butter, schmack. You're allowed to eat it. Maybe. The Gemara says, no way. That they're arguing in eating. The Tanakama says they're only arguing in putting it on the table. There's no machlokes b'sham misil. Everybody holds you're not allowed to eat chicken with milk. Then Rabbi Yossi came along and said that b'sham said you're allowed to eat schnitzel with milk, but that can't be. Why? It says in the Mishnah Nedios, Rabbi Yossi there are only 6 times that Beis Shammai are Mekel and Beis Hillel are Machmer. And this is one of them. And what does he go on to say? Exactly the words of our Mishnah. He doesn't talk about achila. All he says is oila. It could be on the same table. Don't exaggerate and say you're allowed to eat it. All he said is it's allowed to be on the same table. These are the 6 things that Rabbi Yossi says. And he says the words oila and he doesn't say achila, so obviously Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold you allowed to eat chicken together with milk. The Mishnah starts off, and all of a sudden it says, the Mishnah should have started off, Omar Rabbi Yossi. Beis Shammai say this, Beis Hillel say that. It doesn't say it. It says, Beis Shammai say this, Beis Hillel, and then it says Omar Rabbi Yossi. Why? Because the Tana, Rebbe, when he wrote the Mishnah, he forgot to say that it's Rabbi Yossi. And he felt bad. Why? Because it's famous. And he wanted to bring a gula to the world. So he said, Esther Amalka said it in the name of Mordechai. What's the gematria of Mevi Geula La'olam? The gematria? Anybody know math? Mevi Geula La'olam. Check it out. 274. That's the same gematria as Mordechai. If you say the name, Esther Lamelech b'shem Mordechai, b'shem Amroi, Mevi Geula La'olam. Okay? All right, let's just do a few more lines and we're finished. Tana Ira Chamud Rebbe Abba. If you eat cheese and then you want to eat chicken, you could do it befkeros. You don't have to care so much. And he explains what he meant. You don't have to wash your hands with soap and water. You don't have to brush your teeth. You don't have to wash your mouth out. Today, a lot of people, you eat in a kiddush and then you drink whiskey to wash your mouth out. Rav Yitzchok Bereder Rav Misharshi Iklil Bei Ravashi story that he went there to Ravashi's house. Isolate Gvino Ochal. After he ate the cheese, isolate Bisra, they brought him meat. Ochal V'loi Moshe. He didn't even wash his hands. I don't understand. It's only after you eat chicken you don't have to wash your hands. But after you eat meat, you do have to wash your hands. When do you have to be careful when it comes to chicken belayla? During the day, meat. During the daytime, when you could see your hands, even meat, you don't have to wash your hands. At night, you have to wash your hands because maybe something got stuck and you don't see it. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.